Hey, let's talk about Tekton. A bit over a year ago we made a video about what Tekton is and where it fits. As a reminder, Tekton is a Lego for building your own CI/CD system with individual pieces so small that it takes thousands of them to build even a doghouse. As it's been over a year since our original video, it's a good moment to check whether Tekton is still alive and if it still makes sense. Another reason to revisit Tekton is because it became the second project graduated from CD Foundation, the first one being Jenkins, the ultimate job execution engine that almost no one likes but almost everyone is still using. If you do a quick research on the amount of content, that is, blog articles, videos, presentations, made on Tekton, you will notice that almost all of them were released around the same time we released our video over a year ago. It seems like there was a huge interest at that point, which didn't evolve into high adoption of the community and thus a larger user base and more people sharing their experiences with the system. If you compare last 12 months with previous ones, you'll see that the amount of content dropped down significantly, and not like there was much content to start with. Compare it with Jenkins, the job execution engine that your younger colleagues told you should be ashamed of. That's like more than 1,000 times more articles published in the same period, and that's more than articles that were published in the year before that. Or let's look at something more modern, ArgoCD. You can see a growing interest and almost 20 times more content published on the topic. Finally, Argo Workflows, probably the system closest to Tekton, sees an increased popularity in the last 12 months and also 10 times more content. If you compare them side by side, it's just not looking good for Tekton in terms of adoption. It doesn't look better in Google Trends, especially if we add Jenkins and GitHub Actions to the mix. But let's save our lovely cloud native tools from embarrassment and look at the metrics without the big guys. Is that a good metric? I don't know. But when I see that every blog post about a tool is over a year old, I start doubting that this thing is actively in use. Another fantastic metric is the amount of contributions and GitHub stars. Here we see a steady development with some commits happening almost every day. So Tekton is still pretty much maintained and improved. It's just hard for an outside observer to understand why. By the way, talking about release number 0.44.2, let's come back to the definition of a graduated project from CD Foundation. If we look at the rare reports that appeared in the last year, we will see the same picture. Companies, usually pretty large, use Tekton to build some very customized, tailored to internal needs solutions. Tekton gives you full flexibility if you need it, and few companies seem to need this, and they didn't find it in other tools like in Argo, Drone, and other billion CI/CD tools, or even in the first CD Foundation graduated tool called Jenkins. Seriously, what does it even mean? Jenkins is like 20 years old now. What if you don't want to reinvent everything from scratch and you just need, a CI/CD system that easily integrates with your source control SSO and has the features to build and deploy anything from web applications to mobile applications to machine learning models? Well, first option is don't use Tekton. The second option, if you're really determined to add Tekton to your CV and tell everyone you have experience with it, but you don't want to invest 6 months into implementing something like run build on push event, then look at Pipelines as Code. It's a project coming out of OpenShift and Red Hat, and it adds few more Lego blocks that actually make Tekton more usable. It's something that you would have to implement yourself with many CRDs like I showed in another video, but now it's just a single repository CRD. You can keep your pipeline inside the repository, like any other CI/CD system, and it will respond to repository events and be like semi-decent substitute for some other systems. Frankly, as of today, I would not consider using Tekton without Pipeline as Code. And that's the whole point of Tekton. 1 year ago and today, it's a powerful collection of Kubernetes CRDs, and you can cook a beautiful YAML spaghetti out of it. And if you want something more ready to use, you need to pick Jenkins X or Pipelines as Code or some other pre-beta alpha version utilities that we don't yet know about. But in general, if you really don't have to, I would not recommend Tekton as the CI/CD solution. There are way simpler and nicer tools to get this job done. That's it for this video. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong and share your Tekton experiences in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, press the like button and share the video with your colleagues. Thanks for watching.
There are no challenges that we couldn't overcome. Whether it is immediate infrastructure problems or planning a future project, We won't simply answer your questions. We become a part of your team to help you complete the mission. Our solutions consider the interests of your business and the combined expertise of the industry, as our staff is made up of more than a dozen experts in different areas who share decades of field-tested experience and knowledge with you.